y'all, welcome back to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And we got to get going here. We got to hit the ground running because there has been news aplenty in the third world, or in the third party world.
You can call it the third world of politics.
I suppose you could. But yeah, one of the first things I'll bring up is just going to be a really quick sort of brief mention because Una, it's what our next episode after this is going to be about. So you know the Libertarian Party, all of them.
I'm familiar with it and its ways.
So they had a national convention a couple weekends ago. It went a little sideways, more sideways than they usually do, because usually it's like expected chaos is going to happen because you have people arguing between, you know, people being like, you know, taxes are theft and everyone else being like, well, seatbelts also shouldn't be a thing.
Right. Yes. Let me have my weed and my guns.
Yeah. It's like a big tent of liberty ideas. That tent got a little small.
Oh no. How did it get smaller?
So we're going to be discussing this later on, but a group called the Mises Caucus, MISES, showed up with a ton of people and ended up overwhelming the old guard of the Libertarian Party. It is described by Reason.com, which is a libertarian publication that's a little more mainstream than most, as being the terminally online racist branch of the party.
Oh my God. I mean, you had me at terminally online.
Yeah. It's some interesting shit is going on, but I want to do a deeper dive into it to really kind of discuss what happened, what the after effects of this are going to be.
Yeah.
Because I was always very impressed how libertarians were able to collect just a multitude of liberty ideas in one room and didn't burn down a Hyatt at some point.
Yes, they seem to be the inverse of the communist parties.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, 100%. Shit took a turn. Shit took a real turn. So we'll be discussing that later on the week.
R.I.P.
I know it's really fucked. But on the more jovial side of things, we got a little bit of news out of the Movement for a People's Party.
Oh, those fun folks.
Yeah, those grifty sumbitches decided to shoot for the moon, you know, because we all kind of thought 2022 was going to be another year where they didn't run any candidates because the grift ran out and they kicked out everyone from the party for the second time ever. So this comes thanks to the website ballotaccess.org, which is an amazing news source for third party information and goings on. They're not on Twitter, drives me nuts. So I have to manually go to their website like I'm a fucking old person dialing up on the interwebs. They found a court filing because the People's Party were running their first ever candidate. This is a woman by the name of Elise Meisel's. She is one of the three members that I can tell of the Florida People's Party. And she is running for Pasco County Commissioner, which from the former People's Party members I have talked to, it has never been the intention of the People's Party to run local elections. It was 100% going to be congressional races.
Sure,
so
that's what the fun is.
Yeah. And so this kind of came out of nowhere. And so it isn't so much, they're kind of running for office because what they're actually doing is suing the state and the county.
Wait, what? That's their election is litigation?
Sort of. I mean, it'll make a little more sense here in a second. So essentially what happened is in Florida, there is a law that says if you are a new political party, you have to be a member of that party for at least a year before you can file as that party to run for election. The People's Party in Florida didn't become an official party until August 1st of 2021, which means no one could run under the People's Party banner for this election season.
Right.
The other hitch to this is Florida has a two-part filing process where on April 29th, you have to file qualifying papers. And this essentially is like, hey, I'm going to collect signatures. I have all my ducks in a row. I have been a member of this party for a year, or I'm an independent candidate and don't need that. But it basically allows the county to know, hey, you're going to have X number of people turning in petitions and verifying signatures. Staff accordingly is the general idea.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That seems noble.
So about a week after the deadline, Elise calls into the county to be like, hey, am I allowed to run for office? To which they replied, no, you are not. A, you didn't file qualifying papers, and B, you haven't been a member of this party for a year, so no. Which has led them at the Florida's People's Party to sue the county and the state for violating, I believe it's the 1st and 14th Amendments.
You brought the 14th Amendment into this?
Sure. Why not?
Honestly, I feel like this is peak Florida election.
Yeah.
I feel like this is part two. Part one is, yeah, you do something normal and sane, and then you go on and say like, wait, no, I'm gonna sue you
Yeah.
for all your gators.
And look, I will give them this. Other states have had this law, and it's kind of a dick move. Like if you go through the work to register your party, you should be able to immediately run. I think part of the reason they don't is that there's the idea of a sore loser candidate, where if you lose a primary, you decide you're just going to start a whole new party and run as that, and it can kind of fuck up elections a little bit. Some states have laws that if you lose a major party primary, you cannot run in the general to avoid this sort of thing. And I kind of get it.
I get the sore loser law, but then just make it a sore loser law.
Exactly.
It's just like, yeah, no, we know that dude lost his candidacy with the Republicans. Like, we can see your face. No, you don't get to run as Independent People's Movement Party now. Stop it.
And so the thing is with this is they actually do have legal precedent to be able to overturn this law. I believe it was Oklahoma and Nevada both had previous laws like this. And both got overturned in the 70s and 80s. So they at least have precedent to go forward with this and get this law overturned, which honestly, it's a net win. I am fine with this. Where I'm not fine with it, though, is what they want for remedy. And that is to immediately have Elise Meisel's on the ballot without filing on time. Oh, yeah. The other fun thing is like her argument was, well, I filed as a member of this party on June 24th, which still gets her 3 days short, I believe, 3 or 4 days short of the actual 1 year. And the state was like, we didn't recognize your party when you did that. So we just switched you from Democrat to independent. So none of this is going to work. But yeah, it's gotten to the point where they're just like, put her on the ballot. This is an unjust law. Put her on the ballot. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there might be an extra thing saying a sub remedy is that you could just give us extra filing dates to get the signatures we need or to pay the fee.
Collect those fucking signatures.
You could have been doing that already. It is so.
Yes.
Or dare I say, you could be running as an independent. But someone pointed this out to me. I was actually wrong about this because she hasn't been an independent for a year, so she couldn't.
Oh my God. You know, this is screaming like Italian soccer team where it's like someone runs by and then they flop to the ground like their ankle is broken. It's like, no, you don't get a shot after the 74th minute. Stop it. Play the fucking game.
100%. Yeah, it's one of those things that like maybe you shouldn't have kicked out everyone who knows how election law works in the state. You might have avoided this.
But then would they really be the People's Movement Party if they
at this point? No, it's just like between that, they're already starting to sprinkle in like, oh, we're gonna run Jimmy Dore for president in 2024. It's like, sure you will.
Okay.
Yeah, it's anyway. It's that gave my heart a bit of warmth just because like you fucking could have done this, but maybe don't fire everyone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have that happy news before diving in for the subject today. So today is technically a preview 2022 episode. We're not talking about any particular race. We're not talking about any particular state. We're talking about an idea, a concept, if you will. And I think to set the tone, as much as it sucks, we kind of have to talk about where we sit as a country right now and just how precarious a lot of laws for marginalized communities are.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
For those at home, Dusty gave me a heads up before recording and I shrugged it off. But no, you were right to do that. Loins girded once again.
And going into this, I was like, oh, it's just going to be a quick 1-page summary. And then I was like, no, it's fucked. No. It's just fucked in many ways. I had to make cuts with how fucked it was. Like climate change doesn't even appeal into this. It's like I had to pick the top 3 fucked and go with that. So book bans. Book bans are like the easiest start we can go with here.
Oh, God.
So the American Library Association has noted that there were 729 attempts to ban books in schools and universities in 2021, which, that is an increase of 467% since 2020. There's been a huge movement here in America to ban books, specifically in high schools, public schools, things of that sort, due to them being sexual in nature or potentially offensive, many things sort of like that. And about 1,600 books have fallen into these ban attempts. But there have been 2 books that have really risen above the pack this year, in particular in 2022. The first of which is a book called Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe. And it seems to be on track to be the most attempted banned book of the year. Genderqueer is a graphic novel that is a memoir of Kobabe's adolescence. And I'm going to try really, really hard to get the pronouns right on this, is Ear's process in finding Ear's gender identity. Nowhere has the blowback to this award-winning graphic novel been as hard as in Virginia.
Oof.
And it came up during the gubernatorial debate in 2021. And most recently is one of the 2 books that is currently not just banned from schools, but might face a statewide public ban.
Wow.
So Republican
I loved it so much more when it was just the Catholic Church doing this and everyone laughed at them.
I know, right? I mean, fucking bring back Father Donahue is not a sentence I thought I would ever say.
It's just like we could just easily ignore it,
right?
And go about our creaser ways.
He'll be in jail eventually. Just shut up. So Republican state delegates Tim Anderson and Tommy Altman found an obscure Virginia law that essentially says you can bring any book in front of a Virginia judge and ask them to verify whether or not that book is obscene and should be banned from public sale. And after all the local judges in Virginia Beach that these 2 went to recuse themselves, they had to find a retired judge to be able to find on this. They found a woman named Pamela Baskerville who stepped up and agreed that, yeah, there should be a temporary ban on genderqueer, as well as another novel called A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. The second of which...
I have read that book.
Oh, you're familiar?
It's just a sexy fantasy book. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's essentially Feyworld medieval fantasy. Yeah, like, I've never read it, so I can't really say one way or another why it would be banned other than like their sexes.
Yeah, that's it. It's just like people have sex in the world.
Is it like gratuitous sex, or is it just like they go behind the curtains and events happen?
I guess it's gratuitous in the sense that like some good romance novels, like you're reading it for the gratuity on the page. I don't know. Yeah.
And so those are the 2 that these guys brought forward and said,
book is so harmless. Oh my. All right.
It makes me wonder how they even picked that one. Cause like the first in the series, that one's fine. We got to look at the second one. The second one is where sex suddenly happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like the guys who are, I don't know, bringing up these book bans in the first place is like, I bet your wives are super into this trilogy, frankly. It's just, it's kind of a it's a total beach read.
And so, they took these 2 books in front of retired Judge Pamela Baskerville, and she said, okay, we're going to issue a temporary restraining order, to the point that Barnes & Noble in Virginia Beach is legally forbidden from selling this book to anyone under the age of 18 without parental guidance.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I believe they are given 75 days that the publisher and the authors have to repeal this motion or to present their case as to why their book should not be banned. But now that they've discovered this Virginia law, it's an opportunity to really kind of bring back obscenity law, which I really hoped we were done with.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, obscenity law was like my obsession in grad school for at least a semester.
Nice.
Because it's an impossible law. For something to be found obscene, there's pre-qualifications. It has to be considered obscene to the general public, to my understanding, obscene to the area in which it is sold, and has to have no artistic value whatsoever. So it's very difficult to do. About the only people that I can really say have been found guilty of obscenity law, and Una Gerd, once again, the director of 2 Girls, 1 Cup was one of the last people to be arrested and jailed on obscenity. Because the law is really vague about what pornography is, but very clear that poop stuff is the only thing that they are fine saying, yes, this is obscenity.
It's like, It is so dumb. I don't know. I would highly recommend for those at home getting a hold of The Gentrification of the Mind by Sarah Schulman, who talks about it. Blew my mind. But one thing she talks about is how like these obscenity laws and these book bannings are always targeted towards the queer community because the expressions of romance, eroticism, interpersonal relationships in the queer community are different from heteronormative cultural, I don't know, ideals. And so it's like in that light, like, of course, they're always going to be flagged as obscenity, but that doesn't mean they're obscene.
And, you know, I know the go-to is to say, hey, I know a book that should be banned. It has incestuous rape. It has sex. It has slavery. It has gratuitous violence. There's a moment where a bear kills 42 kids. Just tossed it. That's like a side plot. And it's like, oh, it's the Bible. Huge shock.
Right. Right.
And it's just like that is a true point. But the example I would like to use is Brave New World. Did you ever read that book, Una?
I'm going to admit I never did.
It is, I would say, amongst 1984 and Fahrenheit 451, it is the third best dystopic novel that you're forced to read in high school. It's fine. The general gist is no one's allowed to be in a relationship for more than a month because then you're looked at weird. Like parenting is illegal. They just make kids and you're just assigned your job at birth. Everyone takes this. It's a blend of like antidepressant and contraception drug that everyone has to take called Soma.
Listen, hook me up.
Yeah, it's, but I read it in 10th grade. It was required reading. There is an entire chapter on something called Ford Day, celebrating Henry Ford, where everyone just gets together in government mandated groups of 15 and have an orgy. And our main character spends the entire chapter bitching about showing up late and not getting the prettiest partner.
Oh boy. Yeah.
It is some shit. But I know for a fact some Alex Jones types would lose their goddamn mind if you're like, we need to ban Brave New World.
Right. Or Ayn Rand just for being a bad author. Oh my God.
There are so many books that you could easily ban from schools. My elementary school had a whole section of Stephen King, and that man is fucking gratuitous.
Yeah.
It's, cocaine will make you write some things like a child orgy or someone having sex with a part of Noah's Ark. That's, Needful Things, real fucked up book.
Sure. Yeah. Or let's go to the written word on some like kids onesies where it's like lady killer, daddy's girl, and like all that bullshit.
Oh, that gross shit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, why are you sexualizing this 18-month-old?
For Instagram clicks. So yeah, and so that's something that's currently happening everywhere. But the other thing that's really happening everywhere right now is that people are losing their minds over certain things being taught in schools, such as critical race theory, which I know we've discussed this before. The general idea is that race shouldn't come into play in regards to our legal system. However, throughout the history of America, it has, such as in Plessy versus Ferguson, Brown versus Board of Education, Korematsu versus the United States. Race has consistently been a deciding factor in our legal system. And as such, we should study the effects of that and how that has rippled across the legal system. And so, of course, people are worried about kindergartners being taught that. So,
and also what you described, again, for emphasis, is what a grad school level course or like legal theory.
Yeah, it is 100% only in law school.
And what people are getting their panties in a bunch over is essentially, I feel like just a more honest, realistic interpretation of what I experienced in 8th grade, which was the classic, like, teacher turns his chair around to sit on it the cool way and then raps to us about how the Pilgrims weren't that great.
Look, if we can ban anything, I think it's turning the chair around and talking to children as though they are peers. Like, I will get behind that. Don't care who's heading it. I will support.
And it's just like, I appreciated being told the Pilgrims weren't great. I wish I had been taught it earlier.
Right.
I would have felt less dumb.
It's one of those things where I made the mistake of trying to talk to someone on Twitter about it, where they were just like, they gave an example of CRT being taught to kindergartners. And it was literally just like, a child's first intro to racism. And it's just like, that's not CRT, man. They're like, yeah, it is. It's what it is now. Oh, you just don't like people talking about race.
Yeah. Oh, you have
Which brings up part 2.
Confront demons. No. Okay. All right. Loins girded.
They're slowly letting the veil slip because it's no longer just talking about banning CRT. They're wanting to ban DEI, which stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is a business thing.
Yeah.
Or at least something that a lot of businesses are including into their structure. I assume it can also be more of a societal thing to learn as well, but it's having its main push in business.
No, it's absolutely like a business thing to just like have a box tick. Like it is the racism equivalent of cap and trade.
Oh, that's dark. Oh, fuck. But yeah, and so now they're like, we shouldn't teach DEI in schools. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't have a Slack channel. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't want to see kids on Asana. I can barely use Asana. They don't need that.
Yeah. Give them more recess. Jesus Christ.
God, yeah, they have been needing social interaction for a while.
Oh.
Let them outside. It's the safest thing. P.S. Masks aren't giving them mental health issues. Maybe. Hot take. It's from living with their shitty parents for 2 straight years and having nowhere to go.
Oh, yeah. So maybe you should give them that Slack channel with their peers.
Oh, no. No. He'll run out of emojis so fast.
so fast. They'll start making their own, and then you'll feel really old.
That's, oh my God. I think that's the point that most CEOs start to question whether or not Slack's okay.
Yeah, that's when they start shutting down the private chats.
Yep,
Exactly.
Yep. What are we talking about? Sad things, right? Awesome.
Yep.
And the other is SEL, which we've talked about off and on. That is essentially the classes to help people become better with their emotions and interacting with people around them. It's got some good, it's got some bad. The bad mostly being that it turned into a catch-all for everything, no matter what you're teaching. It comes very much from an upper middle class white point of view, and so there's a lot of things it doesn't catch. But the general idea is they don't like it because it is forcing kids to think the same way about things. So that's also going on in schools. As of this recording, CRT has been banned in 17 states and has pending bills in 10 more. Which brings us to abortion, Una.
Oh God.
Yeah. So the Supreme Court hasn't decided yet as of this recording. They've started releasing all their easy opinions to start things off, all the stuff that had mostly unanimous decisions and things like that. So I think we're gonna see it end of June, beginning of July, when everything.
Oh sure, like 11th hour just before they go on their massive PTO break. So it's just like they send it and then the out of office message comes right up. It's like, wait, but
no. We kept one intern just to carry it to the podium. We left hours ago. Friday on 4th of July. They're just gone.
Exactly.
And so abortion isn't gone yet. But like we said, there's been a recent leak of the Supreme Court indicating that, yes, it will be overturned eventually. It doesn't completely ban it on the federal level, but it does allow states to enact a multitude of, I guess, dead man switch laws, you could call them, that immediately make abortion illegal the second that decision is made. As of right now, there are 25 states prepared to ban the practice once the decision has been officially announced. And Oklahoma's just gone a step further and banned it already. Just because, like, what are you going to do? Sue the state? We might as well do it now. What the fuck are you gonna do?
God.
Yeah, Oklahoma's really been on the forefront of shitty laws in the past month. So this, once that gets passed, abortion is going to be effectively illegal in more than half the country. And finally, I'm going to end on the topic of trans youth. Trans adults and trans youth are having a very, very difficult time as of right now, but I think trans youth really shows the sinister shit that is being introduced to kick things off as the sort of slippery slope, easy way to ease things in. So trans youth, a group that has had it apparently too good for too long, are the focus of bills in 15 states that are enacting laws against gender-affirming care by people who confuse puberty blockers with top surgery and really don't care. A lot of these laws are like, we don't want any surgery on minors, we don't want any permanent effects until you turn 18. And a lot of people in the community are like, yeah, that's not a thing. Essentially, puberty blockers exist to postpone puberty, to give people more of a chance to figure out their satisfaction with their gender, if they have one, if they don't, to really just kind of foment those ideas once, they feel more comfortable in that regard, which we talked about a German study that found there's a pretty high percentage of kids who, may change their mind by the age of 14. So the puberty blockers are there to give them extra time to figure out which they would prefer.
Yeah.
And by youth, I mostly mean under the age of 18, but there are 3 states that have their laws go up to the age of 20. So genuine ass adults would be
how is that legal?
You got me. I don't know. You can drink it till you're 21. I don't know what you want me to say. And apparently soon to be 21 to buy an AK-47 if that passes.
If that passes. Oh my God. And also, like, what is the Venn diagram of these states enacting, especially to the 20-year law and marriages for minors? Like,
I did see that meme today, and that's a really good point.
Like, cool. So you're okay with a 14-year-old marrying someone who's over 18, but
yeah, it's real fucky. But it gets worse because in Idaho, there's currently a law that would loop in gender affirming surgery with female circumcision. Texas is leading the way with a law that essentially, if you are a parent who is allowing your child to have gender affirming care, Child Protective Services will come by and take your kid because Governor Abbott has stated that is child abuse.
Yeah, now, that's awful.
So that dictum has currently kind of stalled out because it's not a law, it's more of an executive order, so they can't really, there's a lot of legal gray area, but it's still fucked that people could be doing that. And of course I started writing this before Ohio pulled their shit.
Oh my God, with the Title IX chapters just being burned and then ground into the dirt that's then salted.
Yeah. So there's a huge hubbub over trans youths participating in sports, which really just screams a lot to me about insecure dudes being like, you know what I would do? You know, I just pretend to be a woman so I could win all these trophies. Clearly, that's what anyone would be doing this for. Which, yeah, it's, you know, children who are notoriously kind to one another would make this move. But yeah, essentially, Ohio says that if you go to a sporting event and you're like, hey, I question the gender of that particular player, no questions asked. That child has to go have a sexual examination done. That is not just an outward review of their sexual genitalia, but also the inside, specifically just for women. There is a professional pole vaulter who did a whole tweet on this, where she was essentially like, for girls as young as the age of 8, would be having a sexual verification process done that would be incredibly painful, traumatic, and just horrifying all around. So you have invented a law that I guarantee fucking football parents and like hardcore sports parents will be using against the other team all the fucking time to essentially sexually assault children for their own gain and satisfaction.
Yeah. It's so heartbreaking, and it's genuinely terrifying. I mean, these are little kids, and you're essentially state sanctioning an assault on them, sexual assault on them.
All because, I shit you not, there is one trans athlete in Ohio.
Right. One comfortable enough to be out about as well. Yeah, it's, you know what it is? It's like the coked up studio execs trying to think like, okay, we need a sequel for McCarthyism. What do you got? We need to go bigger. We need to go balls out. We don't have to stick with the script. We just need it in like the same thematic area.
I honestly thought you were going to say She's the Man, but...
Oh my God.
Currently, there are now 17 states that have banned trans youths from competing in sports with the gender which they identify. And yeah, so these are the darknesses in which we exist right now, the precipice that we are of violent actions against trans youths. And not even to mention all of the shit going on in Texas right now. There are bars all across the state during Pride who have had protests. In Dallas, there was a bar where people gathered outside and threatened them with death on a repeated occasion.
Oh my God.
Apparently, if you call a group of people groomers long enough, people suddenly get this hint that like, oh, we should do a murder then. It's the only way to stop them. So I know I'm going to mispronounce it, but stochastic terrorism, I believe, or stochaic, essentially encouraging terrorism through voice and through things that you tell other people. Like if I were to say, oh, all these people from Luxembourg sure are stealing everything, it would be nice if someone did something about it. Anyway, here's a commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're essentially getting a lot of that. A lot of reproductive rights are going to be taken away, including on that. Sorry, just to pile on this. People who are following up banning abortion with banning contraception.
Yeah.
JD Vance has come out to be against pornography and just banning it.
Oh, shut the fuck up, you hypocrite.
I know. Oh, seriously. That man has a treasure trove on a hard drive somewhere. It's, but yeah. And so essentially it's this rise of puritanical thought that I thought we got rid of in the 80s, but no, we're back to satanic panic, obscenity bullshit. And so this is everything.
We are reaping the rewards of a couple decades worth of abstinence only sex education, if to say the least.
I don't know, Una. I learned a lot carrying around that sack of flour for, a couple weeks. Such as I shouldn't be a father. This is the world we're in right now. This is a scratch at the surface of what's going on right now. And this is all 2 years after voting out Orange Man bad. And not much has really been done to protect abortion rights or trans rights or civil rights or the return of obscenity law. But you know what, Una? I am assured by one President Joseph Robinette Biden that all of this isn't because the Democrats aren't doing enough. It isn't because people aren't trying to help. It's because of this thing called the filibuster. And if we want to get rid of it, we need more Democratic senators.
Okay.
But before I talk about that plan that has been enacted, I think we need to talk about what the fuck the filibuster is. Because I was curious about it. Una, we are about to get some surprise enemies.
Amazing. I'm going to jump in and say that my one cocktail trivia bit is that filibuster comes from the Portuguese word filibustus, which was a term meaning to like take just enough. And it was like the concept of like these pirates that would go around and they'd take over the ships and they'd take just enough that they ran off with a profit, but not enough that they would have the entire British army or Spanish army or navy rather, like on their heels.
Exactly, 100%. The term would also end up being used for typically American adventurers who decided, I'm going to go to Central America and just conquer as much as I can grab. William Walker probably being the biggest example, where he just took over Nicaragua.
Oh no, and then we did it again in the 80s.
Yep. There has been no successful American filibuster. They almost always died or got kicked the fuck out, but there were a few.
Oh boy.
Enough to give them a name. The general idea behind the filibuster is that it is a tactic that if a law comes up for a vote and you don't like it, as a last-ditch effort, you can stall the vote during a period of debate by talking for as long as you possibly can. The hope is that people will just become tired of you ranting and decide it's not even worth the trouble to vote for it. And in a more optimistic sort of world that Hollywood portrayed in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, you might actually change people's minds. And at the end of your filibuster, they end up voting with you. Something I don't think has ever happened.
I don't think it has either.
And the thing, though, is the inventor of the filibuster, as far as we can tell, at least from historical notes, is a Roman senator by the name of Cato the Younger. So the Roman Senate had a rule that all business had to be done by the time the sun set, because, we're at a wax shortage. I don't fucking know.
It's just you got to get home.
Yeah, we're not pissing off Apollo.
You can't read the scrolls in the dark.
Exactly. So a particular law, this is something that Cato would end up using twice, and both against laws that were promoted by Julius Caesar. The very first was kind of more of a technical argument. So Caesar just won a war, as he was wont to do, which means that he would be honored with a triumph. And a triumph means that you would be met at the gates, a ceremony would occur, and you would have to be invited into the city. And then a triumph would occur, it'd be a huge thing, everyone's cheering. It's essentially a parade with a little more.
Yeah. Ticker tape parade.
The problem, though, is at the time Caesar was also up for election for consul, which was like before he became emperor, it was his job, which meant he had to enter the forum to be able to run for election. So he couldn't just go to the forum because then he couldn't have a triumph. But he couldn't go to the forum without a triumph because then he couldn't enter the city. And if he misses going to the forum, he can't get reelected. So Caesar said, being who he is, hey, can I do this in absentia, please? I would really like this triumph. They're a lot of fun. And Cato, being a stoic, which is, I know very little about stoicism, but they seem to be not fun people, is just like, no, we live in a society. We have a law. And he spoke till the end of the day to block it.
Oh.
So Caesar gave up having a triumph to run for consul, gets reelected.
Yeah, man. It's more about just the day. You need that power for the rest of the week.
I mean, I think for him, it had to be very insulting, but also just like, I'm going to win another war. Have you seen my war? We invented a phalanx. It's terrifying. And so the next year, Caesar introduced a land reform bill, and Cato hated it. Don't know why, just didn't like it. So since it worked before, he went into another filibuster. But this time Caesar's in the room, and he immediately has Cato arrested and put in jail for one day. This ends up being a bad move, though, because the entire Senate gets pissed off. And once they get pissed off, word spreads out to the general public, and they get pissed off. So Caesar has him removed from jail, but it's too late. There's already been too much freaking anger for anything to get done, and the sun goes down, and his land reform bill just sits. But Caesar is eventually able to pass it using a loophole and just having a few people pass it with him. To say the least, Cato never attempted that again, though.
Oh, interesting.
I should also note the filibuster isn't a strictly American thing. Other countries have used versions of it. At least 15 others have done it. But the American filibuster has uniquely grown from an eye-rolling nuisance to a titanium wall of blockage. And lucky for us, we get to blame pop culture icon and literal villain Aaron Burr for this.
Aaron Burr, when he's not out shooting his shot
and trying to
Jersey
take over
land
and committing serious treason by trying to make his own country. We'll talk about that one day, but Aaron Burr did try to make his own rival nation to America.
I mean, Burr, come on now.
Yeah, he made a lot of bad decisions. So this wasn't something that Burr really meant to do. It just kind of happened. In 1789, our brand new baby Senate had adopted some rules, as you do, including moving from the debated bill and moving on to a vote. And this involved a simple majority. So if you wanted to move on to a vote, simple majority, then you end debate, go to the vote. The thing, though, is everyone in the Senate were, I don't know, mostly cordial or some shit and completely got along. So within 4 years, that vote had only been called once. Every other time people were just like, yeah, I'm done debating. Let's just vote. And Burr would note like, hey, this is kind of redundant. We don't need to have this law on the books. And in 1806, that change of events really happened. They just got rid of the law, which kind of meant that if you don't have a cordial Senate of people who get along, there's kind of no rule to end debate.
Oh, no.
So it'd take about 30 years before anyone realized this and decided to use it for evil. But the filibuster would finally appear in 1837. At the time, President Andrew Jackson had been censured for any number of terrible things he probably said or did. The Democratic Party was on the verge of expunging that censure. So a group of Whig senators started a filibuster to try and keep the censure on the books. The filibuster would fail, but in 1841, the Democrats would use the filibuster against the Whigs, with one senator threatening that the Whigs should find local housing for the winter unless they acquiesced to the Democrats, which they did, probably because winter in DC at the time was very bad. The thing, though, is that folks found a way to make the filibuster actually work for them. Fast forward to 1917, when President Woodrow Wilson called on the Senate to introduce a new way of officially ending debate called cloture. The French National Assembly had invented the concept where you could vote to end debate at any moment. The Senate passed the rule 76-3, now allowing all debate to end with 2/3 vote of present senators. So you just had to have a quorum, and 2/3 of that quorum could end debate. This would last until 1949, when the rule changed to needing 2/3 of all the senators, whether they were there or not. This rule would end up being switched back to the old version in 1959, when Senator Lyndon Johnson realized, hey, if we're going to pass any civil rights legislation, we kind of need to have it the old way because a lot of people just won't show up. And
yeah, pretty sure yeah, he saw the writing on the wall of how the racists were going to handle this.
Exactly. So Lyndon Johnson is kind of a hero within the story of the filibuster. He was very good at intimidating people. He liked to lean over people, to get awkwardly close. He liked to make your day as shitty as possible if it meant ending a filibuster.
His great quote was, I don't get ulcers, I give them.
Mm-hmm. He's just an uncomfortable big guy who would like trick dudes into looking at his dick in the urinal. It's like the man was nothing but power moves. And so he essentially sent the filibuster back to its old version of 2/3 of senators who were present. And it ends up he was right, because the longest filibuster we have ever had occurred in 1957, when Democratic Senator Strom Thurmond of South Carolina decided he was going to speak against the Civil Rights Act of 1957. And since during a filibuster, you're not required to talk about the bill, you could just talk about whatever the fuck you want.
Right. And then we get the reading of Green Eggs and Ham and all that bullshit.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And so he spent his time reading laws from other states and George Washington's farewell address. When he was done, he had pissed himself multiple times, probably, because there's no bathroom breaks. You have to wear a diaper. There's no like timeout with a filibuster. You have to stay there.
That's the whole point.
And he talked for 24 hours in 18 minutes nonstop.
Wow.
It didn't work, and the law got passed 72-18.
Hey!
Democratic Senator Robert Byrd of West Virginia would later lead a charge against the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and he kind of split it up amongst a coalition that would filibuster in turn for 75 hours. It would be ended by only the second ever successful cloture in American history at that time, by a vote of 73-27. So after all these lengthy filibusters that ultimately failed, some senators felt that it was time to reform the process. In 1870, Democratic Majority Leader Mike Mansfield of Montana and Majority Whip Ted Kennedy of Massachusetts began those reforms and gave us the system we have today, Una.
What?
So it used to be, in Senate, you were only allowed to focus on one bill at a time. The problem with this is that if someone decides to filibuster, you essentially stall any work until the end of that filibuster. And good old Ted and Mike were just like, nah, that's not good. We have to keep Senate moving. So they invented a 2-track system that says Senate can look at more than just one bill. You could look at 2, 3, 5 bills at the same time. So if one comes under a filibuster, then you can just get to work on the next thing and not waste any time.
No, the whole point is wasting the time.
The ultimate thing that this turned into is that essentially you can threaten a filibuster and then just have that bill pushed aside so people can just get to work on everything else that no one else is going to filibuster.
Right,
it can
so
kill a bill.
Stall out.
Yeah. It kills a bill without even having to talk, creating what we call today the silent filibuster.
Oh.
And, you can end up overturning that if you have enough for cloture, but you need 67 senators to be able to call about cloture these days. And I don't think that's been a thing that's possible for bills that people have filibustered recently. So thanks, Ted. You did it. You fucking did it.
damn it, Ted.
So in 1975, Senate would decide that, 2/3 is a bit much. We need to knock that down to 3/5. So that's where we get the 60 votes today. Is this piddly little change we made in 75.
Wow. Yeah. Band-Aid on a flesh wound.
So let's just say, with all these problems that we have, that we want to pass, I don't know, the Women's Health Protection Act of 2021, which would codify Roe amongst many, many other things. A filibuster would begin, people would start talking, but since there aren't 60 votes to end cloture, opposing senators could theoretically just take turns for as long as they wanted, halting the Senate and guaranteeing that nothing will get done until the bill's abandoned. And so essentially, don't want to waste time, so we're just not even going to vote on it. It's a dead bill. Why even bring it up?
Why even get elected? Why even try to enact change?
Yup. But there are some exceptions to this. There are a few things that you can have in the Senate that require just a simple majority. These are things like confirmation for presidential nominees to cabinets, judicial positions, budget bills, trade agreements, national emergencies, approval to go to war, and raising or lowering the debt ceiling. Leaving everything else beholden to that 60 vote barrier, but everything else just needs 51 or 50 if you have the vice president to break the tie. It is truly some fucked up shit. But folks like Senator Chuck Schumer, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney know exactly how we can overcome this massive hurdle. Mind you, there's nothing they can do. Nothing at all. It's up to us, Una. We have to vote harder. Now, I would like to read the quote that Congressman Maloney had for
Dusty.
this. I would like to read the quote that Congressman Maloney had for this in his tweet, but I don't think I could do it without sounding like a shitty dick. So I'm bringing on a friend of the pod, a Chicago-based actor by the name of Stephen Brundage. I think, will do a lot better version of anything that I could possibly say for this. So, Stephen, take it away.
Democrats, we are angry and hurt. I know. But it's not about filibuster, size of the court, or what the Senate hasn't passed. It's about Republicans, not us. We can save our freedoms. But it's November, stupid.
Okay, it can also be both. It is the Republicans, it's absolutely Republicans, and also filibuster. Why, the door won't close? Maybe take the wedge out from under the door that's propping it open.
I hate to say it, Una, but you're just being stupid. It's November, you stupid.
Yes, please call the people who vote blue, no matter who, stupid. Yeah, the last remaining blue dog Democrats who are on your side just before passing into the ether towards anyone who labels himself progressive. Please call us stupid.
Yeah. Well, if Twitter's any sign, which it probably shouldn't be, there are two big reactions for this. One is the vote blue no matter who crowd being like, yeah, progressives, fucking do something. Or seething rage. Seething rage did seem to kind of go to the top, which would lead Congressman Maloney to respond with the following.
Do something now is absolutely right, but that's the midterms, which are going on now. Focusing on what's wrong with Democrats in the Senate or elsewhere is another circular firing squad. We can only end the filibuster, pass real protections for choice, if we win more power. And if the Republicans win control of Congress, they will ban reproductive freedom in all 50 states, then marriage equality, and birth control. We don't have enough power now to fix the problem, but we can if we organize and vote. I'm angry too. My family is at risk too. But I know where this leads if we don't channel our anger and energy at Republicans and into the House and Senate races immediately. Do this not in place of the reforms that you want, but to make them possible. And if you're angry about this, please know this is not someone else's work alone. It's your work too. We need you.
No, you can, delete the tweet, put a bag over your head for a couple of days.
Would it surprise you to know he hasn't tweeted that much since then? He's also been doing a really good job of pissing off all the other New York Democrats because there's been a real fucky redistricting going on where it's just consistently been found to be unconstitutional. And the new version that has come out is pitting multiple incumbent Democrats against each other. And Sean, being the head of the DCCC, the group that helps incumbent congressmen win, decided he was going to go into a another congressman's district and run there, essentially trying to kick him out.
I just can't help but feel like there's a nefarious, like someone leans right and it's just like, let them fight.gif. Like,
I hate to say it, a lot of it's because of the Democrats, because it is a Democrat-run House and Senate. They get to draw the map, and they drew what they knew to be a very gerrymandered map, kept trying to pull one over repeatedly to the point the court said, we're at the deadline. People have to vote this year. We're giving it to an independent guy to draw it. And this is just what happened.
So this I feel like you're allowed to say Dems in disarray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like
one time it's appropriate.
Look, man, I know I've said it before, but it's as my pothead friend said in high school, why shoot for the stars when the moon's even closer? Then if you pass it, you're like, holy shit, stars.
Oh my God.
It's like, things are already going to be bad enough. Why you have to fuck up like this? And yeah, so we now have like Jerry Nadler and Carolyn Maloney going up against each other. Yeah, Sean Patrick Maloney and oh my God, I think he's going up against Mondaire Jones right now, who is like a freshman African-American representative, and just noting like, hey, you're kind of getting rid of the diversity we're trying to do here by doing this.
Hey.
That's right. Mondaire Jones had to go to another district where he does not live.
No.
Yeah. And so, Sean Patrick is now being primaried by Alessa Biaggi, the daughter of a former New York, I believe, governor or senator, who is highly corrupt, but she's a youngin', so she's trying her best.
God damn.
Yeah, it's a whole fucking mess. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, just vote, stupid.
Yeah, because I haven't been doing that the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what? On its face, it's always been the call to action. I feel like that's been the call to action since 2002.
Yeah.
And, I want to be pissed about it, but I'm going to try to give this its grain of salt and try to give it as much lenience as I possibly can to see like whether or not this actually is a good plan, if it's actually possible. And the Dems are right. The main argument that people have is, what do you expect the Democratic Senate to do when you have two members, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, who are blocking everything? And, we know a lot about Joe Manchin. He's like one of the remaining pre-90s Democrats who are still around. He comes from coal money. He's a millionaire. He will switch the Republican Party at one point. It just hasn't been financially beneficial to him yet. So I don't think there's any leeway with Joe Manchin whatsoever to get him to change his mind. It's just not financially in his interest. But what about Kyrsten Sinema? And I think we have to know about Kyrsten's history to know how fucking brutal this heel turn of hers is.
It's hard. It's so girl boss hard. But lay it on me, Dusty.
So prior to all of this nonsense, the belief was that Sinema was actually going to lean a lot more progressive. From 2000 to 2004, she was a member of the Green Party and worked on Ralph Nader's 2000 presidential campaign. She wrote op-eds against capitalism, NAFTA, the WTO, the World Bank, and Joe Lieberman's 2004 presidential campaign. She would say of Lieberman, quote, I don't even know why he's running. He seems to want to get Republicans voting for him. And what kind of strategy is that? She also organized over a dozen anti-war protests and became a local spokesperson for the Green Party. And in true early 2000 edgelordness form, she said that she would have no problem if someone joined the Taliban.
Calm down.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's definitely giving edgelord college campus at this age.
But like a very specific left-leaning, girl bossy edgelord.
Yeah. She would run one campaign as a Green-endorsed independent for state representative. She finished in last, but she got a very respectable 8% of the vote and appeared to be kind of an up-and-comer for the Green Party, something they hadn't had, especially in the wake of Ralph Nader, quote-unquote, stealing the election. We'll get into that one day.
Right.
And as thanks for the party's support, she left the party in 2004 and joined the Democrats, calling herself, quote, a Prada socialist. You know how socialists love Prada.
Girl!
We're starting to see who she is. She also started a radio show that she co-hosted with a 9/11 truther. So
oh boy,
you gotta start easing out that grift to see where you can go, what's gonna work.
This is where we would needle drop if we could afford the licensing rights. Cyndi Lauper's True Colors. We can't. So just get it stuck in your head a little bit. Yeah.
Either way, she would run for state rep again in 2004 and ended up winning this time as a Democrat. She would get reelected 3 times, would declare herself the most liberal member of the Arizona House. She would defend same-sex marriage vociferously and during an interview came out as bisexual. In 2012, though, she would say that she didn't remember making that statement and refused to talk about it.
She's her own bi-erasure? Oh my God.
So she had given interviews before that she is bisexual and an agnostic. and to this day refuses to admit to either ever again.
Girl, you're chaotic and I've seen how you dress. Own it.
Mm-hmm. And the reason this got brought up in 2012 is that she was elected to Congress and would have become the first openly bisexual and non-theist member of Congress. But since she was now no longer admitting to those things, shrug boat.
Wow.
But at this time, she shifted to more and more of the center, joining a coalition in the House called the Blue Dog Democrats.
No.
I would like to note, in 10 years, she went from you should join the Taliban, totally cool with me, to radical centrism.
Honestly, like, I just feel like this is the white woman's journey. You either have kids and wear a gray zip-up hoodie, or you live long enough to become the villain.
Yep. So by 2017, the Americans for Financial Reform, a progressive group tracking whether or not members of Congress were pro-Wall Street, found that Kirsten had 67% of the time voted for bills that were favorable to investors and business. The same year, the Phoenix New Times noted that she voted for Trump-backed bills with 50% regularity. The Arizona Democratic Party has threatened her with censure at least twice, which really doesn't mean anything, but those votes never occurred. As for the filibuster, Kirsten has flat out said, quote, "I am not open to changing my mind on repeal."
I mean, you changed your mind over the course of your life about your personal life. You're doubling down on the Prada for sure. Either way.
Mm-hmm. Look, if Prada was more environmentally conscious, she might have stayed as a green, but you know what? Those fucking bags slap. You gotta fucking change your ideology.
Don't. It's cheap leather. Sometimes it's just plastic. You're paying $700 for that? No.
I mean, that logo costs money. I don't know what Yeah, and so to set the field here, because I'm going to get a bit into the weeds as to whether or not Vote Harder is an actionable plan, and it's going to involve numbers, and I'm sorry. I am going to ask people to play along if they would like, and I am going to post a screen capture of the spreadsheet that I used for this so you can at least follow along, and I'm not.
Okay.
And people
good.
aren't getting
I
lost.
need a visual.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to set the field here, there's 100 members in the Senate, 2 from each state. And this is mostly for our international listeners. We know you're out there. As it exists now, there are 48 Democrats, 50 Republicans, and 2 independents who typically, more often than not, caucus with the Democrats. And this is Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Angus King of Maine.
Got it.
So the Senate technically sits at a 50-50 split. But since the vice president gets the tie-breaking vote, as the Constitution says, the Democrats have the majority. But since Manchin and Sinema have stated that they will not overturn the filibuster, any motion that would need it overturned sits at 48-52, which means at minimum, the Democrats need 2 more seats.
Okay.
So this year,
2 is doable.
There are 35 seats up for election. A lot of these seats are fucking impossible. They will not be overturned, predominantly because they are just too heavily Republican or Democratic for us to worry about. So after knocking out all of those, it leaves us with 11. Of these states, there are 4 states that I would consider competitive, which means there have been polls that have been released this year that have a margin of 5 to 10% between the current leader and the second place candidate. So those 4 states, there is the Democratic-controlled Connecticut and the Republican-controlled states of Florida, Missouri, and North Carolina. Now, it's probably too soon to count those states entirely out, but using the current polling from both, it would take some serious campaigning and a little bit of luck to flip those states. So we can't really predict that any are going to flip. So using the polling we have now, I have to say that none of these are going to flip no matter how hard we try, leaving us with the final 7.
Okay.
And I should bring up Missouri. Missouri is kind of a weird thing because the leading candidate as of right now is Eric Greitens, who's the former governor and sex creep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No idea how
Big
he's leading.
Sex creep.
It's like flipping between him and the current attorney general, Eric Schmidt. If Schmidt wins, it's going to be easy GOP. If Greitens wins, it's going to be a lot closer. The problem is the Democrats really haven't decided on who they're going to vote for. There's a lot of undecided people. It's either going to be this guy named Lucas Kuntz, who I believe is an attorney, and Trudy Bush Valentine, an heiress to the Bush fortune, philanthropist and nurse, I guess. So neither are really causing a lot of people excitement, but if Greitens ends up winning, they stand a chance. That's the only reason I throw it into competitive.
Okay.
And so in the toss-up right now, we have 7 states. On the GOP side, we have Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Now, Ohio is the only one that has polling right now, where J.D. Vance is leading Tim Ryan 42-39. And since neither Pennsylvania or Wisconsin have any polling from this year that comes from an unbiased source, which means a number of campaigns will have internal numbers that they run, or certain party-aligned PACs will do polls. They're usually bullshit, or at least fudging numbers to make it look like the candidate's doing better, so I don't count. So since Wisconsin and Pennsylvania don't have any polling, I kind of have to fall back on the various organizations that predict races, and the majority of them currently have those states as toss-ups. So that's how they fit in. Now, it is technically possible for the Democrats to flip all 3. but current data really isn't signaling that any are going to flip. But if I had to predict things, Ohio stays the same thanks to strong GOP support and the 2020 election of DeWine and Trump. So things I think are too powerful in Ohio for Tim Ryan to be able to beat that. He's been leaning a lot more centrist and abandoning a lot more of the progressive-ish ideals that he was running on initially, and that sort of flip-floppy nature might strike people as disingenuous. In Pennsylvania, it was depending whether or not Mehmet Oz won. He ended up getting verified as the winner this last week. He's going to be running against John Fetterman, which is just like, he's 6'20", wears a gray hoodie and shorts everywhere he goes,
and a goatee that just melts the heart of women everywhere. I don't understand it, but I am affected.
I don't know why he didn't pick professional wrestler as his career, but he's an interesting fellow. He comes from a background as a mayor of a small town, had a lot of good reforms that ended up turning things around. He does have a bit of baggage because there was a moment where someone pointed out a guy who had just robbed a place and ended up holding a shotgun up to a guy who was running, who happened to also be black, who was not the guy who robbed anything.
No.
So that's not great. But these are the two guys. Also, John Fetterman has been in the hospital for the past 2 weeks due to a heart issue that led to a stroke. It was later found that he had been ignoring his doctor's instructions for 5 years, and that is what led to the stroke.
God damn it, men.
Yeah. I do think John Fetterman has a chance to beat Mehmet Oz, mainly because he has that quality of, I would get a beer with him that sways people. Also, Mehmet Oz is thoroughly disliked by Trumpists within the state.
Oh, interesting.
During the one Trump rally that they had where Trump was building up Mehmet Oz, the entire front row turned their back on him. Barely anyone showed up. It was a real embarrassment for the whole cause. So I think they've selected a guy who will not have the sort of energy to bring people out. So for that one, I think John Fetterman has a chance of winning. Optimistically, I think Pennsylvania flips. And finally, Wisconsin. You have incumbent Ron Johnson, who's going to probably be going up against Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. A recent Morning Consult poll found that Governor Tony Evers has an approval rating of about 45% to a disapproval of 48%, which may hurt Barnes by proxy. But Ron Johnson's numbers are fucking abysmal. He has a 36% approval rating, a disapproval of 51%. He is a lightning rod of controversy and just being a dick. So I think on those numbers alone, Wisconsin flips. So realistically, I think it's 2. Worst case, nothing flips. Best case, 3 flip. But what about Democrat seats? I think this is the thing where we're forgetting a lot. That Democrats have to play defense also.
that we can't score a goal on our own side.
Yeah, a thing that never happens. So the 4 states that we're going to have to look at, the Democrats have to hold, are Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and New Hampshire. And 3 out of those 4, we do have some early polling. In Georgia, incumbent Raphael Warnock is running against NFL running back Herschel Walker, who has just repeatedly made it clear he has no idea what he's talking about when policy is brought up.
Or anything.
Oh yeah, he has no knowledge of anything. His son is an interesting fella. He, as he puts it, I'm going to try to say this as accurately as I can. He fucks men, but don't you call him gay.
Okay.
Yeah, you've probably accidentally seen some of his videos. But, yeah. But currently, Herschel Walker is leading by an aggregate of 47.3% to 46.8%. In Nevada, incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto leads probable candidate, former Attorney General Adam Laxalt, 41.5% to 39%. In New Hampshire, incumbent Maggie Hassan leads probable candidate and retired Army Brigadier General Don Baldock by an aggregate of 45.7% to 41.7%. The most recent poll done by the University of New Hampshire had Baldock only 1% behind Hassan. And finally, in Arizona, there's been no polling, but more than likely, it's because no one really knows who's going to win the GOP race to face incumbent Mark Kelly. It might be Blake Masters, who is a Peter Thiel endorsed candidate. Peter Thiel also endorsed JD Vance. Trump just endorsed Blake Masters as well. He has had a bit of an issue in the past couple of days because he punched an old guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a 73-year-old dude showed up in a Black Lives Matter shirt and a Trump for Prison hat, which caused an old lady to slap him for Blake Masters to grab him and throw him out of the room, where he laid injured in the hallway until paramedics showed up, and he was then arrested for disturbing the peace.
The 73-year-old man.
Yeah.
Who needed paramedics.
No, Blake Masters isn't getting arrested. If fucking,
oh my God.
If the governor of Montana can body slam a reporter, I think Blake's okay.
I hate this country.
But no one really knows. But for now, yeah. So it's shrug hands on Arizona. But if I had to predict, for Georgia, I kind of have to stay with the polls on this. Both parties are going to be highly motivated to vote. But, unless there's some weird Trump pettiness where he tries to get as many people to not vote for Brian Kemp as much as possible, then yeah, I think Herschel Walker wins. Georgia in 2018 is starting to feel kind of like a fluke that Stacey Abrams worked her ass off, caught the Republicans sleeping. I don't think that's going to happen again. So I think that's going to be a flip. Nevada, the polls between Cortez, Masto, and Laxalt have flipped back and forth constantly for months. But based on Laxalt's 4% loss for governor in 2018, I think Cortez Masto gets the advantage. So I think that stays. New Hampshire feels a bit weird, but it
always does.
It mostly has to do with Maggie Hassan having the worst approval ratings for any senator throughout the nation.
Oh, grimace face. What, Mags? What are you doing?
In October, she was at 33% approval, 51% disapproval. And the one advantage she might have is that if Don Baldock does win, he's kind of been really good at spouting conspiracy theories that are hip and cool these days. So that might be enough to keep Hassan in office, but it's going to be closer than people might think. But I'm just going to say for now, we keep New Hampshire. And finally, I think Mark Kelly keeps his seat. He's, I don't think Sinema's going to get him hurt. I think he's going to have enough going forward that people are like, oh, he's our good senator. Let's show out for him. We'll be fine. Which means, in my belief, worst case scenario, they lose 4 seats. Best case, they keep them all. But realistically, I think we lose 1 seat.
Oh.
So adding that all up, worst case, lose 4 seats and the Republicans get the majority 54 to 46. Best case, the Democrats flip the 3 GOP seats, keep all of theirs, and end up with a 53-47. Or I think most realistically, in my pseudo semi-professional guessing, Democrats win 1 seat, keeping the majority at 51 to 49, which will not be enough to vote past Manchin and Sinema. But I'm not a professional.
Into a pillow.
This isn't my job. I could be entirely fucking wrong. So I decided to look to see what the professionals thought of things as they are now.
Sure. But, Dusty, I do see you as a professional.
That's very kind of you. So I went and checked everything. So Cook Political Report, very respected. They're predicting a 50-50. Nothing changes. Politico is expecting the GOP to win 1 seat, giving them a 51 to 49 result and control of the Senate. Same with C-Analysis, which is also thinking there's going to be a 51 to 49 GOP gain. And then finally Predict It, which if you're not familiar with them, they are the gambling website where you can vote on elections. And so just based on what people are...
Oh my God.
So based on what people are currently gambling on, the GOP is going to take the Senate 53 to 47. So Una, I'm being optimistic. I did not mean to be, but I'm the optimist in the House.
What is this weird feeling?
I stopped being an optimist at 25. This is a bad look.
Yeah.
And of course, these numbers are subject to change. Mark Kelly might accidentally do some shrooms, promise to fight Bigfoot, and just punches a tall guy. Mehmet Oz might decide he's going to be a brilliant doctor again and somehow cure COVID. No one knows what 2022 level stuff is going to happen between now and November, and you can't make me imagine it. I refuse.
Yeah, no. Whatever you could think of, the universe will deliver something so much weirder and worse.
So if we were to believe that the Democrats need 52 sitting members and allies to pass filibuster reform, then the odds of doing it are below 50-50. It's probably more like 1/3 of a chance. But there is one thing that would really help. Something like, I don't know, getting a verified, accurate number of how many senators we actually need. But I don't even know who would have that information. Someone like, I don't know, Chuck Schumer, maybe? President Biden probably knows. I'm sure Kamala Harris has at least a running tally of how many of this is. But I don't know, maybe just like coming out with a list of all the senators who absolutely will vote for filibuster reform no matter what, and can be held accountable to that list, and not turn around and be like, oh, here's a bunch of people who will say they'll vote for it, but since the one vote that we had on it was inconsequential, so people just voted for, I don't know, popularity's sake.
Right. Or people who just like waffle because they don't want to be tied down to an answer, depending on their constituents or their lobby friends.
Yeah, but I did the research and no one's given that number. And I feel like if you want to tell people to vote harder, you kind of have to just reveal everyone's entire intentions.
Oh, so maybe it's not so much a vote harder, but call your senator and be a pain in the ass?
Potentially, but we shouldn't have to do that. If this is on us, you could do the bare minimum and just give us the number. And the thing is, there are a solid handful of Democratic and Dem-aligned senators that prior to the John Lewis Voting Act had no interest in filibuster reform whatsoever. People like Angus King of Maine, John Hickenlooper of Colorado, Chris Coons of Delaware, and Maggie fucking Hassan of New Hampshire did not want filibuster reform until voting rights came up. Catherine Cortez Masto has flipped on the subject, but initially she was against filibuster reform for fear that the Republicans would use it against the Democrats once the Republicans got the Senate back.
They're going to do that anyway. Pass some
Right.
shit. Also, it's just like, it doesn't matter, filibuster or not. Like, they withheld us filling a Supreme Court seat.
Mhm.
Like, these people are shameless, so stop assuming they're going to follow any rules.
Right? Fucking right. And it's like, this is why it's so important to get these numbers. Are they just going to give us these numbers for the Voting Rights Act and that's it? So yes, we need these numbers to avoid fascism part 2. A bunch of people are dead boogaloo. But speaking of which, the Brookings, because otherwise it'll just be like 2020 and all of a sudden Tim Kaine decides he's going to do a heel turn and your supporters are blindsided once again for not getting enough numbers like we thought we did in 2020. Speaking of which, though, the Brookings Institution has entered the chat. And we'd like to note that they would like to note that overturning the silent filibuster to even the talking filibuster, which is what the majority of Democratic senators want to do, isn't as simple as getting a majority vote. In an article written in 2019 and updated in 2021, Molly Roberts listed the potential options for Democrats to overturn the filibuster. Option 1, formally change Senate Rule 22 to change the cloture vote from 60 to 51. But if you remember, the Senate has an ironclad rule that to formally change any rule in the Senate, you need a 2/3 majority, or 67 votes, which even in the most optimistic world, the Democrats could never attain. Which leaves us option 2, create a new Senate precedent. This is also known as the nuclear option. So it's more based on things that have happened before than actual rules. It's like polite formalities than things that are written down. But it has been enacted with success in 2013 and 2017. And to enact the nuclear option, here's what you have to do. A senator has to call a point of order that a Senate rule is being violated due to a silent filibuster. After this point of order, the presiding officer of the Senate either agrees or disagrees. If the officer disagrees, then a second senator can appeal. If no one does, then the point of order is dead. But if the presiding officer agrees or a second senator appeals, then the point of order goes to a vote where a majority wins. If the motion passes, then the point of order becomes the Senate precedent that having a filibuster on a particular kind of legislation violates Senate rules. And this is how they are able to get the filibuster removed for judicial appointments and cabinet seats, because it's violating the Senate rules to not allow the president to do their job. However, if the vote fails, then it becomes forever fine to have the issue filibustered with no option of repeal. It can never be changed unless you get that 67 vote to overturn it.
No, I'm sorry. This isn't a board game. Like I just can't stress enough that like our obsession with precedent and these rules, like it's all meaningless. We just made them up once upon a time. So fuck it. Like that second option is still too polite. Like I will remind everyone that we didn't have a Supreme Court seat filled because Mitch McConnell just decided that no,
we're going to set a new precedent that we will not honor in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, no, absolutely not. Stop with this ruleness.
We're essentially in baseball propriety territory as of right now. It's like, oh, you flipped your bat when you ran a double. I am going to throw a pitch at you. And these are the rules. You have to let it happen. It's not written, but it's what we honor. And so the issue, though, is that the nuclear option, at least via precedent, has to reference particular kinds of votes. You can't just say, for every vote going forward, the filibuster is gone. You have to say, all right, for voting rights legislation, we will overturn the filibuster. And you essentially have to have this nuclear option vote for everything going forward, whether it's civil rights, whether it's women's health. You have to keep doing it. And as I said before, there were enough Democrats who wanted to end the filibuster over the John Lewis Voting Act, but there don't seem to be enough that want to do it for civil rights and women's health. At least those numbers haven't come out, how many support that. And once again, it would be really nice to have, the Senate Majority Leader give us that list.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? Is voting harder a real plan? I say very kind of, but it's not really the sort of plan that can work without knowing exactly how many votes are needed and what you have to do. So essentially, this vote harder might only result in being able to overturn the filibuster just for voting rights and nothing else. So what we need to know from Chuck Schumer is the following. How many senators support ending the filibuster, not just for voting rights, but for civil rights and women's reproductive health as well? Who doesn't support ending the filibuster for each case? Is the Democratic Party willing to endorse their primary opponent? And what is the party willing to do between now and November of 2022? Without those, voting harder is just gaslighting.
Yeah, no, I feel it's like if voting harder is step one, step zero is kick Chuck Schumer out of the majority leadership position and get Elizabeth Warren in.
Yeah.
It's like we need a new coach for this team.
So based on the numbers that we have, even in optimistic guesses, hitting even 52 seems to be a very tall task. It's doable, but doesn't quite seem possible, which, I assume means that vote harder will just be pressed even more in 2024, that certain people will be blamed for not voting hard enough and will be told, hey, you have to vote harder in 2024. This is now what we have to do to save reproductive rights and LGBTQ plus equality and civil rights. And for just 2 years.
And they'll be said to the people who were directly disenfranchised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for 2 years, these people have to suffer under further and further draconian laws while people are being told it's your fault.
It's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't vote because I couldn't get a license because I was undergoing transition.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want from me?
Yup. But hey, let's assume 2024 is an option, that we just have to go through 2 years of hardship, and at the other end of this, we'll be able to fix everything. So quick.
That sounds like some boomer mentality, Dusty. Lay it on me.
Look, people just don't want to work, Una. It's as simple as it is.
I am already enraged.
I'm going to put an asterisk on this because predicting anything in 2024 is about as fuck stupid as you can get. If I am not qualified to predict the 2022 midterms, I am Nate Silver modern day unqualified to predict the 2024 election.
We're all going to be dead of gator pox. So, but sure, let's look into the crystal ball.
So that year, let's say that the way we predicted is going to be fine, that we gained an extra seat, the most optimistic of things going forward. In 2024, there are going to be 33 races for Senate. And assuming that no one retires, resigns, or dies and needs a special election to fill their seat, the incumbents are all running again. It's just, we're running with that base template. Of those 33, 23 are in seats held by Democratic or Dem-aligned senators, leaving 10 GOP seats to flip. And I feel like the only ones you could even barely consider as a possibility are Florida and Texas. And Texas is only because Ted Cruz is up for election, and no one likes Ted Cruz.
No one.
And the only reason I'm considering Florida is there was a very recent poll by Fabrizio Lee, which is kind of like the cool kids Rasmussen.
Ooh.
That ran a poll showing that Rick Scott would lose horribly in a primary against Don Trump Jr. by double digits lose.
Ooh, we love to see it.
And, I kind of have a feeling that Donald Trump Jr. might fuck his way out of losing because, the universe wants his dad to hate him so much.
Yeah.
So I think those might be the only two that we consider, but admittedly, Democrats would need an absolute rock star to run in both states for even a slight chance. And even then, they need to be people who say, yes, I will overturn the filibuster in all instances. So that being said, there is one advantage, and that's that Kyrsten Sinema is up for re-election that year.
Hey.
Her favorability is 20% in the state.
Wow.
And it's a near certainty she's going to lose her primary to either Rubin or Kate Gallego. No relation, as far as I know. But it'll be a toss-up to who's going to win the GOP. No one fucking knows. But also, there are going to be toss-up elections in Michigan, Montana, and Nevada. So who fucking knows? We could lose 4 seats. We could gain the seat for the one person who is holding things up, which means a theoretical 50-50 for being able to overturn the filibuster, at least for voting rights.
Yay.
In 2024. But that 50-50 doesn't mean shit if Donald Trump wins re-election.
Oh my God, don't even speak it, Dusty.
No, I'm tired of people, like, every single fucking week, I see some Ron Filipkowski bullshit where it's like, Donald Trump isn't going to fucking win re-election. It's going to be Ron DeSantis. And it's like, I overdose on hopium. Fucking, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm not even saying that, like, it's more a don't speak it, Dusty, in that I know this is a possibility and I am already digesting so much.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's, I'm sorry, but based on bullshit state polls that exist right now, Trump would win 276 to 262, which means the filibuster wouldn't fucking get overturned.
It wouldn't even matter.
And I'm not even bringing up the House gerrymander that happened that Sabato Cristobal is currently predicting to be a GOP shift by 214 to 193. So you couldn't even get bills to the Senate if that happens.
Oh boy.
So yeah, it's a dark timeline. It's full of a lot. Vote Harder is not a great plan, full of many perils and things that could go wrong, which is why it's all the more important to press Schumer, Biden, Harris, Pelosi, and Mahoney for the specifics listed above. If they want people to vote harder, it can't be without metrics. Otherwise, I hate to say this, it feels like something they're just asking people to do because they don't have a plan and they secretly know it's not going to work, but will shift blame off of them to the voters, which is worse.
It's the neoliberal idea of just like, well, it's on the individual. Yeah. Corporations can't be held accountable.
And look, I severely hope that's not what happens. But the request for this simple info of how many people need to be voted in shouldn't be that hard, and it could easily make the difference if Schumer and et al. Were willing to look past the senatorial propriety of not airing people's secrets and laundry. And the thing is also, Una, and it's probably even bigger than all of this, I don't really know what to name this episode.
Ooh.
Because what I've been running with is Vote Harder is a blank plan. And I keep feeling like I'm either exaggerating or under exaggerating. It's either like, if I say bad plan, it's too generic and doesn't really strike what's happening. If I say it's a callous plan, I feel like I'm going too big. So Una, what adjective would you use to fill the blank?
I would say Vote Harder, the boner pill edition. Because nothing's going to be harder. It's just a terrible placebo effect.
God damn it. No. This is seriously gas station Viagra. That's what we're comparing.
Yes.
No. Oh, that's so weak.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's crushed up ginseng in a tablet.
Oh, damn it.
And dyed blue.
Look, it's really the blue dye that really pushes it over. We ground up a bunch of green M&Ms and that's what we put inside it. So you're going to fuck real good.
Yeah. You think it's Cialis, but
God damn it. Yeah, I don't really mean for this to be a highly depressing episode because there's a lot to be depressed about in this. And, I doom scroll at 3 a.m. with the best of us. It's not great. Lexapro helps, but goddamn, it needs to work a little harder these days.
There's only so much to do when the tsunami is coming at you.
Exactly, yeah. But, it'd be really cool if people were to press the powers that be to give us an exact number and not just, letting them say, well, Manchin and Sinema won't do it, so you do the math. It's like, no, we need a fucking number because it's the least you can do at this point, because otherwise it just seems like you're going to do nothing for the next few months as we're just running towards this wall that's going to get people really, really hurt. Yeah. And if things are escalating as they seem to be outside of all these various bars and events, like people are going to get killed. People are going to die if things aren't done right. And I don't feel like that's an exaggeration. It feels like people are slowly turning up the heat and either you're willing to do something about it or you're not. And I don't think asking for a metric is too big of an ask. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. 2022 social issues, the boner pills edition.
Fuck. Well, everyone, I hope our next episode you'll find a little funnier as we discuss the coup that just happened in the Libertarian Party.
Yay!
But yeah, it's bleak and it's sad, and I know we usually talk third parties around here. I know a happy thing we can bring up. So the California primary just happened last week. It's going to take them a fortnight and a half to count the other half of the votes that they have out there, as is California's tradition. But California has a top two, everyone runs at the same time primary. So if you're a Democrat, Republican, third party, it's all the same vote and everyone votes on that. One third party guy actually got through.
Hey,
a fellow by the name of Michael Kerr is going to be the Green Party's representative on the ballot in 2022. So
Mazel tov.
Continuing the Green Party luck when it comes to that. Last time, I believe in 2018, they had Kenneth Mejia, who right now is leading for the Los Angeles comptroller position. You got to control those comps.
I saw on Twitter someone was posting about Mejia's ad campaign, and because I think the person was in charge of their billboards, and the billboards were showing it's like, here's where your money is going. $3 billion to the police, and the change in your couch cushion to housing and health issues.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. It was really good.
He's also been really, every campaign he's done has at least 1 to 3 people in inflatable Pikachu suits.
Oh my God.
Just out there wobbling around, which he might have gotten inspiration from Tia Pikachu, who is a Chilean politician.
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll end on that. That seems nice and happy. You know, primaries are coming up. Go out and vote. I'm not saying don't vote. Vote your heart. Don't feel pressured to vote outside of your heart and, you know, feel like you have to vote for someone in particular. I'm just saying that, you know, if you're going to vote harder, be fair to people. Don't set everyone up for 2 years of being gaslight for everyone else's attempted genocide, I guess. I don't know.
It also doesn't mean to press the pen harder on the ballot, because that'll just fuck up the Scantron.
Oh my God. Yeah, I try. You will push over the voting booth and you will be asked to leave the senior center that you were in. On that, I think it's a good end. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Gadfly. Woo! Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?